welcome to the show. So, what's been happening? Well, the Tories' budget was so bad it nearly broke the country.
If any sign were needed of emergency, this is it. The Bank of England forced to intervene to calm the economic crisis.
Emergency help was needed, especially to protect pension funds.
Will today be remembered as the day this Conservative government lost its economic credibility?
Yes. Everything she touches turns to shit. Think about it. Since Liz Truss took charge, the economy's tanked, the Queen's died, and England were relegated from the Nations League. Now, I'm not saying that she is a devil brought down to destroy the world. But she's got the same laugh. The country's on its knees. I give it a week before Big Ben collapses, Lorraine Kelly joins ISIS, and turds are falling from the sky. I mean, things are so bad that journalists are asking questions like this.
It's time to ask, is it OK to eat squirrel?
Squirrels! 3 weeks of Liz Truss and we're eating roadkill. How are we here? Springwatch is meant to be a telly show, not a fucking buffet. You think I'm shocked? This guy couldn't believe it. So, did Liz apologise? No, she hid.
Where is Liz Truss?
No idea.
We haven't seen the Prime Minister.
You can run Prime Minister, but you can't hide.
At the moment, she appears to be hiding.
Check your shed. You never know.
Apparently, I'm not making this up, apparently they found her in her office like this. Liz went that way! It's such a mess. Because of the budget, the pound crashed, mortgages were withdrawn, pensions nearly disappeared, and when the Chancellor needed to reassure the country, he did this.
What conversation are you having with the Bank of England, sir? Do you have anything to say about what's going on, sir?
Say something! People are terrified and you're quieter than a man who's just been asked the question, do you prefer my hair up or down? When Liz Truss finally emerged, she couldn't understand basic questions.
How many people voted for your plan?
What do you mean by that?
She means how many people voted for your plan? She wasn't finished. Listen to this.
I get up every morning as Prime Minister thinking, how can we make our country more successful?
I've got an idea. Resign. Just... So, right? Either that or stand by a hungry family dressed as a squirrel. This was the moment of the interview.
Are you absolutely committed to abolishing the 45p tax rate for the wealthiest people in the country?
Yes.
Yes! I will never abandon my tax cut. This lady's not for turning. I will never bend! Never! And what happened the next day?
Liz Truss is U-turning and ditching plans to cut the top rate of income tax.
One of the most spectacular policy U-turns of modern times.
It was massive. And rather than take responsibility, the Tories said things like this.
It's not a U-turn, Alison, it's a change of direction.
A U-turn and a change in direction are the same thing. I'm not reversing, I'm going backwards. I'm not having an affair. My penis is exploring different vaginas. It's no wonder that, according to the latest YouGov poll, the Tory party would win just 3 seats under Liz Truss if the election was held today. They'd go from 357 seats to 3. 3! She's going to put more Tories out of work than cocaine and porn. Like, it's brutal, man. There'll be 3. They'll be rocking up to Parliament like this. Things have got so bad, people are already predicting her downfall.
Liz Truss has arrived at her first Conservative conference as Prime Minister, with speculation there already about whether it could be her last.
I'm not surprised, man. Did you see the protests in Birmingham?
Tory scum, counter from. Tory scum, counter from. Tory scum, counter from.
And one lady hit her really hard. You! And your handbag's crap and all! I don't know if you watched the Tory party conference, but they were clearly trying to get this message across.
I think what we've seen today is a government that has listened.
We are listening and have listened.
And I think they've listened.
The Prime Minister's listening.
This is a listening government.
And I have listened.
They might have been listening, but the crowd were clearly doing something else.
While in England we have now virtually eliminated waits of over 2 years, we are speeding up our plans to roll out community diagnostic centres as well as new hospitals.
Now, do you know what caught my eye about the conference? This. Condoms bearing Tory slogans were pulled from the Conservative Party conference out of respect for the Queen. What? Like, how about you respect the country she loved? Like, that's going to have an effect on the royal family. Like, King Charles is going to go, oh, thank God they've gone bareback. Oh, thank God. I'm so worried. Tory party condoms. Can you imagine the slogans? You turn me on. Like the pound, I go down. Wait. My personal favourite, let's do it Moggy style. The Tories are struggling, but Labour, they're having the time of their lives.
One opinion poll putting Labour a record 33 points ahead.
The biggest for any party since the 1990s.
If there was an election tomorrow, then yeah, there would be a massive Conservative wipeout.
But all the journalists seem to care about was this.
Some people think you're a bit boring.
You have in the past, and I apologise for saying so, been called boring.
Are you boring or are you more exciting?
Is it actually time for Mr. Boring?
Yeah. I'd take Mr. Boring over Mrs. Batshit. Besides, if they want a bit of chaos, Angela Rayner had an absolutely mental alternative to Prime Minister's questions.
Instead of PMQs,
drunk
shots.
PMQs.
Jaeger bombs.
Yes.
How many Jaeger bombs
Is that what you get? Do you like a Jaeger bomb?
I can do a Jaeger bomb.
I can do a Jaeger, mate. No problem. You can line them up. Man. It's Parliament, not Falaraki. Instead of here, she wants them to go, ooh. The last thing we need is pissed MPs. Have you seen how they behave when they're sober?
Did the Honourable Lady just call me scum?
It's a disgrace! Shut up and get up!
Mate. If they're on Jaeger bombs, next time Rees-Mogg falls asleep, he'll end up looking like this. Over in America, they've been dealing with Hurricane Ian.
The wrath of Hurricane Ian, the strongest September hurricane to strike the Gulf Coast in more than 15 years.
It's devastation that was predicted, but the grim reality of this storm's raw power defies imagination.
This is Fort Myers Beach as a barrage of wind and water slammed the city.
The weather was brutal, yet amazingly, they had to issue this warning. At this time, swimming is not recommended. What other signs did they put up? Don't tap dance on your roof. Who's going for a swim in the middle of a hurricane? I mean, Christ, a shark was spotted swimming in the flooded Florida streets. The plot to Sharknado is actually happening. It's like the apocalypse. All we're missing is the ground opening up and the devil making this noise. But then, the way people behaved in the storm was insane. Some got political. Fuck Biden. Others got romantic. And one man truly lost control.
Oh my God! Something's on fire!
Hey, no, something's my big toe. Brother, I just shit and pissed myself.
What a reaction! Ah! Ah! And now to tell everybody. Piss and shit himself. Apparently, Liz Truss did the same after her budget. Did you watch any of the coverage of the hurricane? Do you know what I feel sorry for? The reporters.
Then comes the flooding water and the mold problems and the lost days of work. This storm is going to hurt, John.
Why do they always send them out where the weather's shit? When it's a heat wave and they're over at the beach rubbing in lotion, as soon as it's rained, oi, Jim, get in the river. I mean, look what this poor sod had to go through.
Just give me a second.
Jim, you all right?
I'm all right, I'm fine. I'm fine. You just can't stand up.
I can't stand up. I just shit and piss myself. Horrible, isn't it? Do you know the worst thing? The worst thing, we had to stop it there because just after that, he was knocked out by 2 shagging dogs. The storm was so bad, this reporter had to use specialist equipment.
A lot of people are asking, what is on my microphone? It is what you think it is. It's a condom.
So hang on a minute. The mic gets protected, but Jim...
You just can't stand up.
He's fine. Also, is anyone else thinking what I'm thinking? Where did they get the Johnny from? What kind of optimist takes rubbers to a hurricane? Just 150-mile-an-hour winds, houses destroyed. All right, all right, all right. Ridiculous. Utterly absurd. Who gets lucky in the middle of devastation? They call me Mr. Bombastic. It was different for the guys in the studio. They were having so much fun, they had time to draw dicks on their maps.
What you think you see is all kind of tracks here over Florida and fewer over here.
This week in Playground Politics, we discuss the strikes that have taken place across the land. Do you know what a strike is?
Yes. Oh, they're just silly. There's tube strike.
Yep.
And you can get a strike in bowling.
Strike in bowling. A football strike, yeah, you can strike the ball. What does it mean when a person goes on strike?
I think it just means they just grab the person, put them in the corner, done, problem solved.
I think you might have confused strike with solitary confinement.
Oh.
Is it okay for people to stop working if they don't like their job?
I'm gonna say this in a philosophical way.
Okay.
So get prepared for some major juju, because it's gonna go on for basically an hour.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, ready? Get prepared for some major juju.
A job not only harvests money from your toil, it also gives you a sense of good feeling. What would you rather have? The money, but the dread of waking up on the morrow and having to face your crippling job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I love most about that?
What?
The phrase "on the morrow."
I've studied archaic languages for more than I can remember.
Now, you both need to convince me why you should get more money at your job. Let's imagine I'm your boss and we're having a chat, okay?
Since this job is really hard, can I get 1,000 per month? Because I think that's a good deal.
The very fact that you've come in here laughing and said that you demand £1,000 a month is insane.
I found the cure for cancer, though.
That changes things. What tip would you give someone if they wanted more money from their job?
I just do my best. So I got Employee of the Month for doing my best.
For what job?
Display manager.
Well, what does display manager have to...
She fixes up the displays, so she has to staple gun them back up.
With a staple gun. You mess with me, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Right now, you be my boss and give me a job.
You as a firefighter.
Right, and you're the boss of the firefighters, and you've got to decide whether or not I should have the money. Here we go, right? Let's put that out. That's what I do. I need more money.
How much?
Listen, I don't know if you've ever dabbled in Bitcoin, but I'm in trouble, boys, right? And I need help. I need 5 billion. I know it's a lot to ask from children.
Ask Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast, yes.
Who's Mr. Beast?
A guy with loads of money.
All right. Where is he?
On Mars with Elon Musk.
Okay. Feels like you give me the runaround, lads.
So let's just say this.
Okay.
I write a book, 785 pages long. Takes me as long as J.R.R. Tolkien write in The Lord of the Rings. All I get for it, £1 million. That's not good. 10 years on a book.
Well, what do you want then?
2 million.
Now, from strikes to working from home, did anyone see this headline? Bosses think workers do less from home, says Microsoft, says the company who invented the home computer. It's ridiculous. I mean, sure, working from home doesn't suit everyone.
Was talking about... Oh, I'm really sorry, that's my son arriving. Sorry.
Tony, I can see you when you're
We can all see you.
I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
There are other countries, though, forgive me, behind that.
Then I'll probably go down to Jersey where my uncle lives and stay and hang out with him for a bit.
But what I don't get, why do some people get so angry about flexible working?
Working from home's not working. It's sitting at home in your pyjamas, doing the square root of sweet FA.
We didn't allow anybody to work from home. Why would we?
You can't have the same relationship, I'm sorry, over the computer.
If you want a bleeding job, be prepared to go somewhere and do it.
Get back to the office.
I do like
do
that
some
tip.
work.
How many of us are actually working from bed?
Nobody. Loads of people work from home and none of them are in bed. And even if they were, if they do their work, who gives a shit? They could wear a cape with their cock out for all I care. Or vagina. Or vagina. I'm so fed up of bosses trying to bully people back to the office. It's even happening in government. Jacob Rees-Mogg left this note on the desks of civil servants. Sorry you were out when I visited. I look forward to seeing you in the office very soon. With every good wish. I bet they were gutted. Oh, no. We missed a visit from a ghost who looks like he still gets breastfed. And here's the biggest piss take. When he was slamming them, he was allegedly working a 4-day week. Stop being lazy. Jeeves, cancel my calls. Tell mother I'm ready for my titty num-num. Somebody should pin this to his desk. So I missed you on Friday, I rubbed my balls on your cable. Mind you, if you think Moggy's bad, did you see why our former Prime Minister preferred the office? Boris Johnson says people should work in person again because when he works from home, he gets distracted by cheese. We had a leader who was flustered by cheddar. No wonder he struggled with Putin. Now, listen here, Vladimir. Oh, mini baby bell, where's that going? Not that it's the weirdest claim. According to the Daily Telegraph, if you work from home for too long, you become your oddest self. Oh, Oh, no. Not my artist self. When people are at home, I was going to work, but instead I did a puppet show with 2 roast chickens. And listen to this, we won't just act odd, we'll look odd. Shocking Model shows what we'll look like in 25 years if we stay working from home. This is insane. Get ready. Apparently, if we work from home, we will all look like this. Look at that. Look at that. If we don't get back to the office, we're going to look like a paedophile darts player. Ridiculous. They aren't just creating monsters. The Daily Mail claimed working from home via Zoom is bad for brainstorming. It leads to fewer creative ideas, which is utter nonsense. No creativity. The movie Encanto was made entirely in lockdown, won Best Animated Feature of the Oscars, and ruined every parent's life with 5 simple words. We don't talk about Bruno. I'm sorry for bringing that up, but some of the most creative people ever worked at home. Roald Dahl, Leonardo da Vinci, Shakespeare. He wasn't in the office riffing. Imagine if he tried to write Hamlet surrounded by this lot. It's so ridiculous. For some people, home working is great. Better work-life balance, less commuting, enhanced mental health, and you only have to buy 1 donut for the office when it's your fucking birthday. Right? And I don't know why bosses are upset. They still spy on you. Have you heard about Tattleware? Employers can see everything you write in email, as well as in Slack, Google Workplace, and Microsoft Teams. I think my old friend puts it best. There's more. Another popular option is Time Doctor, which silently records app and internet usage. Terrifying. I can't speak for women, but a lot of men are going to be asked why this noise keeps appearing in WhatsApp. And why this man appears in many, many photos. The answer is no one knows. To be honest, I'm not surprised some people aren't rushing back to the workplace. I mean, check out this company in Norway. Call centre workers limited to 8 minutes toilet time per day and risk triggering alarm if they go 1 second over. Imagine being halfway through a shit and you hear this. Horrible, man. Now, going to the toilet against the clock is repulsive, but it would be a good game show. And I've got the perfect idea. We have these 2 hosts, and we call it Ask Master. Who's in? Who's in? Who's in? Not that everyone's mean. Some businesses have been trying to entice workers back to the office by being friendly, and their ideas are utterly cringeworthy. Take a first day of school-style picture as you head out the door in the morning. It's ridiculous. People will just do this. Here's another. Find somebody with an amazing tattoo and recreate it on another team member's body. Let's hope this guy doesn't work there. This was my favourite. Help your new colleagues get to know you by sharing a video of you, introducing yourself, and sharing your deepest, darkest secret. That is mental. What if you reveal too much?
Judy accidentally stole an apple.
Sorry.
Brian has got 3 overdue library books. And Russell once broke into a zoo and shat into a kangaroo's pouch.
Let's be honest. Working from home isn't complicated. For some, it's good. For some, it's bad. Some people are more productive, some just stare at cheese. But people should have the choice in bullying them by claiming that if they work home, they're lazy, becoming odd and slowly turning into an alcoholic Teletubby is nearly as annoying as being in a busy shop and hearing your WhatsApp do this. Time for the final part of the show, and I'm delighted to introduce our stand-up guest. Please welcome the brilliant Maisie Adams!
It's so lovely to be here. It's a very exciting time for me at the moment because I'm getting married soon. Yeah! Oh, it's so much fun planning a wedding. It's so much fun. It's just planning a massive party. It's great. But there are a few weird bits about a wedding day, though. There's some strange bits. Like, think about the first thing you see at a traditional wedding ceremony, right? Traditionally, it would be the bride walking down the aisle, and traditionally, she's walked down the aisle by her dad. Now, listen, I love my dad. I get on with him great. I've got a lovely relationship with him. I adore him. I'm more than happy for him to walk me down the aisle. I just don't understand why my mum shouldn't be there as well, because frankly, it's both their fault I'm here. They made their bed, they lay in it and did unspeakable things. But like, I'm 50-50 each of them. I think they should both be there, right? I think the main reason I'm kind of uneasy about it just being me and my dad walking down the aisle is, as I say, I love him. But where I'm getting married, you know how normally you enter from the back and then you walk down the aisle? Where I'm getting married, we have to enter from the side and then walk round the back of everybody, then down the aisle. And as I say, I love my dad, I really do, but he's about as Yorkshire as they come. And I can't help but think that if it's just me and him walking round everybody else, that is going to look a little bit like a farmer parading his Jersey cow at an agricultural... Do you know what I mean? Like, I won't wear a veil, I'll wear a rosette. He's going to hand me over to my fiancé, presumably in exchange for 3 magic beans. Say something like, look after her, she's stubborn, mind. Like, that's weird as well. Surely that little interaction in 2022, just a man handing over a woman to another man? Like, I'm not property. I don't want to feel, call me weird, but I don't want to feel on my own wedding day like a used car on Auto Trader. Because that's essentially what's happening there, isn't it? Sort of a bloke just handing something else over to another bloke. I'm half expecting my dad to walk me down the aisle, hand me over to my fiancé and say something like, yep, all good under the hood. Only 17 previous owners. Keep the oil topped up, she's a guzzler. That was too far, I'm so sorry. I've never said that before. There is some stuff that we've decided on, though. There is some stuff that we've got sorted in time for the wedding. Like, we've sorted our honeymoon. We know what we're doing with that. We went into the travel agents, right? And we were met by a travel agent called Shannon. And I've never met anybody quite like Shannon in my life. If I had to describe Shannon, I would say her blood type was Prosecco. But, like, she was switched on, do you know what I mean? Like, she was with it, like, she was on it, in fact. Like, I would say that Shannon is not just in 2 separate WhatsApp groups, both called Drinky Poos. She's the admin of both, you know? Yeah, that's Shannon. And we came in and we said, hi, we'd like to book a honeymoon. And she absolutely shot up out of a chair. She sprinted, so you know that back wall where they keep all the catalogues on? She didn't even have to look which one to get. She didn't have to jump, bless her, because she was a little girl. She just sort of ran up like that. She came back and she was licking her lips with excitement, right? It was frankly threatening. And she comes back and she's going through it. She kept saying we a lot. She kept going, well, what we can do is, what we can look at doing, if we go all-inclusive. She said we so often to the point where I started to think all-inclusive meant Shannon was included. Lovely girl, but you wouldn't want to spend your honeymoon in a twin room with her, do you know what I mean? And she said to us, she said, have you had any ideas about where you'd like to go? We said, yeah, we think we'd like to go somewhere hot. We have thought, perhaps, maybe, the Caribbean. And then Shannon said what I think might have been one of the maddest sentences I've ever heard in my life. I said, I think we'd like to go somewhere hot. We think, perhaps, maybe, the Caribbean. And Shannon went, well, if you've got a zest for life... That's the first half of that sentence, OK? She went, well, if you've got a zest for life, may I suggest a cruise? A cruise! I'm 28. I said, a cruise, Shannon? That's not what you do when you've got a zest for life. That's what you do on the way out of life. She said, listen, hear me out. If you want to go to the Caribbean at that time of year and you want to go there on a plane, it'll cost you this amount. And she wrote down a number, which I don't mind telling you guys, between friends, I didn't know existed. Okay? I didn't know numbers could be that big. And then she said, but, if you want to go to the Caribbean at that time of year and you go there on a cruise, yes, you will be the youngest people on that ship by about 50 years. But, it will be a 12th of the price. I said, Shannon, get me on that floating care home. We've booked it. We have. We've booked it. We've booked a holiday where it is expected that not everyone will return. There's freezers on that ship and they're not for the food. That's all I'm saying. I've been Maisie Adam. Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Maisie Adam! Thanks so much for watching the show. Good night, my friends. Good night!